Buenas tardes. I am Tanya Aguiñiga. I'm a U.S. citizen of Mexican descent, raised in Tijuana, Mexico. From the age of 4 to 18, I crossed into the U.S. every day to attend school on the U.S. side. It makes me sad to label and identify myself this way upon our meeting, but it is what I had to do every day of my early life, to boil myself down to a name, a citizenship, and a reason for crossing the border. What I really am is a flowing and adaptive body whose ancestors have loved and traveled this continent for millennia, freely moving with the seasons, caring for and being nourished by these lands, together with our human and non-human relatives. I am a mother, a community builder, a joiner of disparate things. I am most at peace when I am making with my hands. Craft lets old languages embedded in my body speak. It lets me sing new songs, stories of what I am feeling right now, stories that we weave together as strangers and friends. It is how I care for my community and myself. As a little girl, I grew up with a permeable border wall. The wall did not go into the ocean, and we shared a beach. Back then, people crossed the border from both sides to work, study, and play. My father told me stories of a time with no fence at all, when he would have to sneak into Mexico, because in Mexico, there were no hippies allowed, and he had long hair. In my lifetime, I have seen the border wall grow, duplicate, and become more deadly. It has been made of see-through steel mesh, long round poles, pieces of repurposed landing mats from Vietnam and the Persian Gulf War. And now, 30-foot-tall, concrete-filled steel bollards. I mentioned the material and the look of the fence because growing up in Tijuana, a few blocks away from the fence, I always paid attention to what it was trying to communicate to us about ourselves. Sometimes the more solid metal fence had a sign on it that would indicate that we would be scorched by touching it, and the fence itself was a danger to us. To the east, we had no fence, and it was always assumed that mountains, deserts, rivers were boundaries of their own. In the 90s, the US began to use the fence as a way to entrap, to force people into dangerous conditions that would kill them. The US got land sensors, increased surveillance equipment, and they successfully militarized the border. This was done in the name of protecting Americans by 3 Democratic administrations and 2 Republican ones. In my hometown of Tijuana, today, the border wall consists of 3 successive fences with razor wire at the top and bottom. In addition, the fence is now 30 feet tall, a fall height at which humans sustain life-threatening and debilitating fatal injuries. The fall height and its implications are something that the US voting public is not widely aware of or informed about. So if you look over to the side, it's not like all the way down, but I brought with me an impression that I made of an actual ladder that somebody used to climb the actual border fence. And the way that I made it, so if it was fully unraveled, it would go all the way to the floor, and it goes all the way up to that top balcony. So this ladder is a ladder that somebody used to climb over the fence, and I put cotton over the actual ladder, sprinkled it with vinegar, and then that's how the impression got onto the piece of fabric. So it's important for me to share with you and to let you see what 30 feet looks like. So 30 feet would be at the top of this 3rd balcony. This is what grandparents and pregnant mothers and children are scaling and falling from in order to find safety. During the election of 2016, I founded AMBOS, Art Made Between Opposite Sides. AMBOS is a collaborative platform for binational artists along the US-Mexico border to express, document, and mitigate community needs through craft-based projects centered in care. Our AMBOS Ceramics program is a trauma-informed weekly program serving 3 LGBTQ plus asylum shelters in Tijuana, Mexico. The program is a collaboration across borders between clay communities, and it creates opportunities for mutual aid, builds pro-migrant support networks for the most vulnerable soon-to-be Americans. A therapist assists in every class. Clay has always been a record holder for humanity's stories and our migratory paths around this earth. When not working on their own pieces, we collaborate to make works that address different aspects of human needs. We have no markers on the US-Mexico border to mourn our dead, to ask for safe passage, to remember those that we have been separated from. Here, our students made shrines that AMBOS collaborators installed on the fence from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. Knowing that the border feels so far and migration feels so big a topic to approach, AMBOS generates shareable knowledge and tries to make care for each other actionable. On August 24, 2020, an 87-year-old woman died. American woman died after suffering a heart attack while waiting 6 hours in a hot vehicle to cross the border back into the US from Mexico. In her honor, AMBOS created car crossing survival kits. And I tried to petition the US government to create faster lanes for the elderly and disabled, all to no avail. It's so easy to forget that we are a part of nature. So easy to forget that wind, water, land, and animals are in constant movement. Tectonic plates migrating, volcanoes moving mass from core to surface. Movement is essential to survival. We must acknowledge that human movement happens in many ways as part of our nature to grow and thrive. We cannot allow governments to cause harm or dehumanize those that are seeking safety and refuge. It is my hope that we can rise above political scapegoating and false narratives about migration, that we can come together regardless of nationality or citizenship to care for and support one another from a human perspective. Thank you.